Yeah, and it's that first wave of recruits that said, you know what, I picked the Gophers, I picked Row the Boat, I picked that culture, and he's excited about developing them.
PJ Fleck in year number 2, and you had mentioned, James, 22 starters, really 10 underclassmen getting the start off the goalpost to begin 2018. As Emmett Carpenter with the kickoff for Minnesota. Our Auto Owners Insurance Impact players. What do you got, James?
I got Matt Romero. He has to play better than a week ago. Last week, it seemed like the game was going too fast for him. Jason Huntley, the tailback #1, home run threat every time he has the ball in his hands. Thomas Barber led this team in tackles, 3rd in the Big Ten, 1st in the Big Ten in solo tackles. And Antoine Winfield Jr., Rob Smith, the D coordinator, said you could see him line up at 3 different positions tonight on the football field.
Well, Matt Romero will get the start at quarterback for New Mexico State. Again, the Aggies already have a game under their belt. They played Wyoming last Saturday and dropped that one to Wyoming. Speaking of drop, first attempted passes dropped by O.J. Clark. Now, the offense was really slow to get going against Wyoming. They'd like a better start and more consistent effort here throughout this night.
Yeah, New Mexico State is the only team in the FBS that has to replace their top passer, rusher, and receiver. They're going to try to get quick rhythm throws for Matt Romero here early on.
And tackler, by the way, when you talk about defensively. And Romero with Huntley in the backfield. And the pass is broken up, intended for Drew Dan. Now, Drew Dan was the most successful receiver in that game against Wyoming. Had a couple of catches for 60 yards, and the only touchdown of the game for New Mexico State.
Well, early on, they've had opportunities to get easy completions for Romero, but he had 2 drops, and that's not the start that you want if you're New Mexico State.
3rd and 10 situation, swings it out to Isaiah Lottie. He'll be short of the first down. Kamal Martin there with the tackle.
Tackle by number 21, Kamal Martin, 6-yard gain on the play.
It was a 6-yard gain, but not good enough, so that brings up 4th down, another 3 and out for New Mexico State.
That's exactly what you want if you're Rob Smith, the D coordinator for Minnesota. You want to get a 3 and out, get your defense flying around, get the ball back, hope it leads to points for your offense.
Number 11, Antoine Winfield Jr. back to receive for the Gophers.
Winfield Jr. just kind of lets it roll out. Another touchback. And on the Minnesota side, when Minnesota has the ball, our Auto Owners Insurance Impact players, you're looking at who?
Tailback Rodney Smith. He does everything for them. He is their leader. He's their bell cow. PJ Fleck said they have to manage his carries, his workload tonight. Tyler Johnson, he was the only production at wide receiver for them last year. Terrell Hanks, an NFL caliber linebacker, back-to-back 100-plus tackle seasons. And Roy Lopez is a D tackle that can live in the backfield if Minnesota isn't careful.
So Zach Anixtad will take his first snap, named the starter August 20th. And immediately hands off to Rodney Smith. If you were going to bet on a first play for a true freshman walk-on, that might have been it.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be able to establish the run game. And when we talked to Kirk Shiraka yesterday, he said he wants to get in 3rd and manageable for his young quarterback. He doesn't want to be in 3rd long because New Mexico State tends to dial up pressure with Frank Spaziani's attacking defense.
Deshaunte Lloyd and Jonathan Hood there on the tackle. Second and 8 for Minnesota. As the young quarterback checks the line. Hands off again to number 1. New Mexico State, this defense playing without 4 starters that they had on Saturday, a couple of linemen and a couple of linebackers, and they are without also Cedric Wilcox. That was expected. He is out for game number 2 for academic reasons. But no Jasavier Reese, no Javon Ferguson, no Malik Demby, and no Leon McQuaker here tonight. A 4 wide receiver set here for Minnesota. Anixtad drops back off the hands. He was going for his money player, Tyler Johnson. So 2 carries for Rodney Smith, then he tried to go Johnson's way.
Well, you can see right here, good patience by Zach. He had pressure around him, stood in the pocket, delivered a nice, accurate ball to Johnson. You don't say that very often out of Tyler Johnson when you talk about him. He doesn't drop the ball much. Early on, you can see the jitters, though, Lisa. Game 1, 3 drops, 2 from New Mexico State, 1 on Minnesota.
Jacob Herbers getting the start as the punter for Minnesota. Herbers, of course, replacing Ryan Santoso. And Zach Anixtad, another 3 and out for his debut for Minnesota. We'll take a timeout. Football on BTN is presented to you by Taco Bell's Nacho Fries, this summer's tastiest blockbuster, and brought to you by Discover Card, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. Well, a couple of 3 and outs in the first series for both of these teams as they go back to work. Doug Martin, the head coach for New Mexico State, in year number 6. Last season, the first bowl game win since 1960. And the handoff to Jason Huntley, looking to create, spins right into a pack of white jerseys.
Huntley, the ball carrier.
Huff and Winfield Jr. were there. It should mention that Minnesota is wearing the white road jerseys here tonight. New Mexico State didn't have their road uniforms ready. Now, they told us that after that bowl win, they actually let the seniors walk away with some of those jerseys, and they just didn't have them in time for this game. On second down, across the way, and that pass is also broken up.
Another drop. That's 3 drops already for New Mexico State. They're trying to get the ball out fast for Romero. He's making quick, accurate throws. I think he's doing a lot better, as you see right here. Hit him in the hands. You got to come up with that catch.
Pass again intended for O.J. Clark, and now an empty backfield look here from New Mexico State. They'll move Huntley around. And Romero in trouble, scrambling, trying to get out of trouble, and he goes down. Carter Coughlin got to him.
Well, Lisa, you see right there the athleticism of Carter Coughlin. He was recruited as a linebacker, moved the defensive end. Rob Smith loves to do stunts with him. They can drop him in the coverage, and you see why right there. Great closing speed from a defensive end. Local products from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Powerhouse high school program.
First on the team, 6.5 sacks last year. First on the team, tackles for losses, with 11.5 last season. And that one just stops dead, but it hit a player.
Yeah, I think they hit a Minnesota player. That's a live football.
And New Mexico State is saying that they have the football. Looks like Minnesota will retain it. And here's a little talking to by the head coach. Got a little dicey on this play, but it's another teaching moment here for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota will get the football when we come back. Zach Anixtad, a walk-on quarterback, back for series number 2 of his career here as the starting Minnesota quarterback. You heard why he chose Minnesota. He actually chose Minnesota after being offered by Illinois, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Southern Mississippi, and Western Kentucky.
PJ Fleck saying that he wants more legacy kids from Minnesota that understand the rivalries, understand the Little Brown Jug, the Floyd of Rosedale, and want to be a part of the change to consistently win those rivalry games. He thinks Zach's the perfect fit.
2nd and 5. Again, to his left is Rodney Smith, who shifts over. Another 4-receiver set here for Minnesota. Smith, with nowhere to go, has to turn and fight for some yards as he scrambles just short of the first down marker. Ron LaForce there on the tackle.
Well, great penetration by the New Mexico State defense here in the backfield, but even better effort by Rodney Smith, reversing field, trying to make something out of nothing. And that's why I love watching him on tape. He never gives up on a play, runs extremely hard every single snap.
Brings up a 3rd and 3 situation. And instead back to throw. Going again for Tyler Johnson. So that's the second time that they've tried to target Johnson on third down.
Yeah, that play right there, Lisa, is just a quarterback trying to find his best target.
Ray Buford Jr. there on the coverage, the former Golden Gopher.
And it looked like they were in two-man. Buford playing underneath leverage with the safety help over the top, which makes sense when you're going against a guy the caliber of Tyler Johnson.
Ray Buford playing against his old program, his old teammates. Played at Minnesota in 2016 before transferring away. And that one fielded at about the 26-yard line. O.J. Clark fielding it. Still no score between New Mexico State and Minnesota.
He returns to Lincoln.
And Nebraska with another starting freshman quarterback, by the way. Adrian Martinez named as the starter. First true freshman quarterback to start at Nebraska. Rolled up on his scooter, he said, to Coach Frost's office to learn the news. 4-yard game here for New Mexico State. Coming out of that break, 22 total yards combined between these two offenses already tonight.
That was a really nice play there by Antoine Winfield Jr. He gets off a block, makes a tackle for no gain. You're going to expect to hear his name called a lot if he can stay healthy this season.
He's granted a medical hardship waiver, 3 years of eligibility left. Played with a hamstring injury last year. And we will see him move around several different defensive spots here tonight. Romero's in trouble, trying to find his target, Jonathan Boone, for the completion. And it's right at the first down. They're going to give him the first down. I was going to say it's right at the first down marker, and that's the first down for New Mexico State.
And a week ago, it took them to the last minute in the first half to get a first down against Wyoming. So already better production of New Mexico State this week.
And Romero again shifting to his right side. In that game against Wyoming, Matt Romero exited with about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Nick Gentee, the backup quarterback, was inserted, and head coach Doug Martin said, with the intent, I took him out so he could take a breather. He is in his first year as well. He's a JUCO transfer out of Oceanside High School and Palomar College. And his head coach just wanted them to make sure that he had everything under control. We got a stoppage in time. We will take a timeout as Doug Martin and the Aggies will chat about it. Slow start for both of these offenses. New Mexico State and Minnesota kicking off our football season here on BTN. James Laurinaitis, Lisa Byington with you. James, go figure, you got some things to say about this defense.
Yeah, Thomas Barber continuing his family legacy with Marion Barber Jr., then Mary Barber III, the running back, and Dominic Brothers' brother. Blake Cashman, former safety in high school, walk-on from Eden Prairie High School here. He's always around the football. I love watching him play. And then O.J. Smith, the transfer from Alabama. He's supposed to shore up that run defense that struggled a year ago.
Well, you got O.J. Smith. You could consider him maybe a freshman. Chris Williamson, also a transfer. Pass is broken off. Did Barber get it? Yes, he did. The first interception of the year. Thomas Barber grabs it.
Right on time. Just talking about him and the family legacy, and he comes up with a big play for the Gophers here. Gives them great field position for their young freshman quarterback. And again, another drop, Lisa, off the hands, and a great effort by Barber to lay out there for the football. Hit Jonathan Boone right on the mitts. And good things happen, I always was taught by my coaches, when you run to the football.
He had one interception last year, and Barber now matching that already in game one and night one. And this is the best field position right now that Minnesota has had all night. And instead, fakes the handoff, floats one over to Johnson. And that is the third time that they just can't connect tonight.
And he had him. He had him wide open on the play fake up the seam here. And you'll see he just puts a little too much on the football.
Shema Todd Lomax coming over, the strong safety. And the quarterback pressure provided by Roy Lopez brings us to a 2nd and 10 situation. That time the handoff to Smith. A gain of a couple.
Rodney Smith, the ball carrier.
4 yards here for Rodney Smith.
Tackled by 49,
Louis Falamasino getting the start.
3rd down, 6 yards to go.
For Jawan Ferguson here tonight, making the tackle. Third and 6. Annexstad, a first down. That time he's connecting with Johnson.
A really nice job by the offensive line, keeping a clean pocket for Annexstad.
13-yard gain on the play.
Correction, Chris Ottman-Bell with the grab. One more look at it.
You see them passing off the stunts that New Mexico State was throwing at them. And a good rhythm throw by the walk-on.
A 14-yard completion. Chris Ottman-Bell, one of the receivers they are really excited about this year. And again, the handoff to Smith. He can make things happen. Headed towards the sideline. He's thinking end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota. Nope, they're going to call it back. But take a look at the block Sam Schluter provided on this play.
This is great vision by Rodney Smith, and as you mentioned, great blocking. The cut back there, to see that hole open up, and you see his physicality, refusing to go out of bounds, trying to make it a house call.
A 23-yard carry for Rodney Smith. They'll try it again.
Smith, the ball carrier.
Jonathan Hood, DeShante Lloyd there on the stop. Gain of a couple.
2nd down, goal to go.
And that's an encouraging sign for this offense to be able to get a big explosive run play. If you can have that throughout the season, Lisa, then you're going to open up play-action pass for your young quarterback, which they loved to do a year ago. Play-action passes to Tyler Johnson.
Our first look at the backfield at Mohamed Ibrahim. A redshirt freshman running back here from Minnesota. Annexstad connects. There's your touchdown. Tyler Johnson. A 7-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Johnson, and Emmett Carpenter with the extra point. 7-0 Minnesota lead.
Let's take a look at the touchdown here. Zach Annexstad, great patience, waits for the route to develop on the slant. Really a nice route by Tyler Johnson, beating Ray Buford across his face.
6 plays, 50 yards, 2 minutes and 22 seconds on that scoring drive that resulted in a Tyler Johnson catch. One more look. Tyler Johnson, 7 touchdowns last year as a sophomore. New Mexico State bringing it out. Jason Huntley to about the 20-yard line.
Well, as we take another look at this replay, he knows where he wants to go with the ball right away. He's just waiting for Tyler Johnson to get open. Tyler does a nice job of setting up his slant. He attacks the face of Ray Buford for crossing it. And Zach with great patience for a young man, hitting him right in stride. It has to be a huge relief for the freshman to get that first career touchdown out of the way early in this football game.
And now this New Mexico State offense up against it once again. Matt Romero rolling out. He's going deep downfield. And And a flag. Gonna get a pass interference. Jacob Huff with the coverage.
Incomplete, their flags on the field.
Pass interference. Defense number 2. 15-yard penalty on the lead side.
Well, New Mexico State trying to take a shot here, and Huff was in good position. He just fell victim to an underthrown football. And as Jonathan Boone was trying to come back to the ball, Huff got in the way, body blocked him a little bit. Usually they'll throw the flag on that every single time.
Christian Gibson, now your running back for New Mexico State. Huntley out for the first time. Direct snap here to Romero, who picks up a first down himself across midfield. And this is the best field position for the Aggies tonight.
20-yard gain on the play.
That's an aspect that Matt Romero brings to this offense. His legs, the ability to pick it up. Lead draw call all the way. Wide open hole there for Matt Romero.
Romero scrambling. And all he'll do is just run out of bounds. Pushed out of bounds. Gary Moore there from Minnesota.
Again, you see the athleticism that Matt Romero has. Being able to escape. Really good coverage by the Gophers. He had nowhere to go with the football, but picked up a 7-yard gain with his legs.
Ability to extend play is one of the reasons why he has won the starting spot for New Mexico State. But Minnesota all over him. Blake Cashman with the sack.
When you turn on the film, Lisa, Blake Cashman is always around the football. There are some guys who just have a knack for making plays. You can call him a football player or whatever you want, but he's on a blitz here, bends the corner like a defensive end, and gets the sack.
Loss of 11 on that play. Used him as a third down kind of guy last year, but this coaching staff loves him. I mentioned his story as a former walk-on, now starter. Romero's got to create something. He stumbles and falls. Sam Renner is there for Minnesota. And so empty-handed once again on this series for the Aggies. Needed 14, they gained 4 on that play.
The coaching staff loves Sam Renner. They love this local product from Maple Grove High School. Rob Smith saying that he does everything right. Everything you ask of him, hustles to the ball. Definitely one of the favorites on this defensive lineup.
Antoine Winfield Jr. again back to receive here for Minnesota. Another touchback. Penn State beat. Not a lot of people talking about Michigan State yet.
Well, they should be. 19 starters back. I mean, that is a lot of talent that they have. Brian Lewerke at quarterback. LJ Scott seems like he's been there forever. Felton Davis at offense, I think, is going to be explosive.
So Zach Annexstad, through his first touchdown pass of his career, swings it out to Demetrius Douglas, a redshirt freshman. A gain of 4. Douglas and Rashad Bateman. Mentioned Chris Ottman-Bell, a couple of the receivers. Minnesota and this coaching staff really, really excited to see what they can do this year.
There's 2 redshirt freshmen and 1 true. Young talent at the receiving corps from Minnesota.
A botched snap and New Mexico State recovers. Terrell Hanks was there. And a huge turn of events here for the Aggies.
And it looked like he wasn't ready for the snap. We'll have to see on the replay. No, he was. Looks like he just took his eyes off it. The snap was a little bit to his left. Just seemed like he took his eyes off it to try to hand the ball off there on the run play to Rodney Smith. Great field position for New Mexico State.
Does that look like it's a miscommunication on the snap count with a young quarterback?
I think the snap was just a little bit to the left, Lisa, and if you're trying to do a run play to the right, it kind of throws all the timing off. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to get on that football.
Well, first red zone opportunity here for New Mexico State. And Romero will keep it. He's met by a couple of Minnesota Golden Gophers. Cashman and Barber all over it.
Another tackle for loss for Cashman there. This is sudden change defense if you're a Minnesota Golden Gopher. When bad things happen on offense or special teams, you can rise up and hold a team to 3 here. You get all the momentum back on your side.
A loss of 1 on the play. Romero. Fade pass. And they're going to call it a touchdown. Found his receiver, Isaiah Lottie, for 6. They challenged Antonio Chenault in the corner.
Well, Minnesota's in man coverage here. Looks like a little face mask there by Lottie. Looks to have secured it.
And Dylan Brown on for the extra point. So a little momentum here for the road team. We got a tie game. Just like that, Minnesota scored first, and the Aggies have a response.
And nice throw, teardrop throw.
Whatever he's planning, he's ready now. France, Yemen, Syria. This is an international organization.
Listen to me. Where's the attack?
I promise you, I'm the best chance you have.
Two plays, 12 yards in just under 40 seconds, making good on the turnover. And another look at the touchdown pass to Lottie.
Lottie does a nice job creating separation. A little bit of a hands to the face there on the reception, but a nice job securing the ball in the back of the end zone. Capitalizing on the air on the missed snap.
And we're tied here at 7 in Minneapolis. That is a fair catch call, one of the new rules here in college football. Ibrahim. And so it's being explained by our referee, Tom Stapleton. Whether you make a valid or invalid fair catch call, it's one of the new rules. Inside the 25-yard line, it basically results in a touchback, James.
Yep, takes it out to the 25-yard line for the team, and they're going to try to avoid these high collision plays on these kickoff returns.
Trying to eliminate a below-the-waist blocks, 5 yards downfield. And Minnesota now getting the ball back. Anixted with a handoff again to Smith. They've kind of wrapped him up. They've figured him out here early. And we'll check in with Michelle McMahon, who has more on Zach Anixted.
Just an observation from the sideline here of the young freshman quarterback, Zach Anixted. His body language has been pretty consistent and steady through that great touchdown pass and then also through the adversity. After he mishandled that snap a moment ago, the first person to support him is one of the seniors, Shannon Brooks. I'd also like to point out how good of a teammate Tanner Morgan has been, who got beat out for that job. He was the first person to give Zach Anixted some support to start the game, Lisa.
Well, we knew that there would be highs and lows with this team, and with their true freshman walk-on quarterback. And off the back of one of his teammates, a tip pass as Deshante Lloyd got a piece.
Frank Spaziani loved to rush 5 and play man coverage from low hole player. That's what they did there. When you rush 5, Lisa, you get a man on a man. Opens up those one-on-one battles to get to the quarterback. Good coverage that time by New Mexico State.
Deshante Lloyd, a redshirt senior out of Baltimore, Maryland. Brings up a 3rd and long situation, exactly where New Mexico State wants to be. Anixted Looking for the screen pass as Johnson went down. Crowd wanted to call. B.J. Fleck wanted to call. Not going to get it. And it was Terrell Hanks on the coverage.
Yeah, I thought there was holding on that play. Frank Spaziani will do this as well. You'll see their linebackers lined up on wide receivers. It's very unorthodox. It's risky. It's taking a chance. But you see the NFL prospect, Terrell Hanks, working there on Johnson.
Hard hits. My goodness. Antonio Chenault. Hello.
Well, that's a way to make up for getting beat on the touchdown pass. I think he's a little fired up over that. He's taking it out there on the punt coverage. Really nice job here covering. Great timing. Delivers an absolute blow.
O.J. Clark, pay attention. Punt of 51 yards. Here's Romero. That'll be a first down completion to Jonathan Boone. Boone, 3 catches against Wyoming, 21 yards. Starter 8 of 12 games last year. It was a gain of 11. Again swings it out.
Pass complete to number 10, Lottie.
This is an offense that wants to throw the ball. Last year, second highest among FBS teams in terms of pass attempts per game.
Yeah, and Lisa, Matt Romero seems to be finding a rhythm. Much better start for his game than a week ago and for this offense for the Aggies.
Here's Romero again. Just needs one on 2nd and 1, and it's another first down, and suddenly New Mexico State looks like a different offense moving it down the field.
Yeah, they do, and it's quick rhythm throws. We have a flag on this play. But he's getting the ball out of his hands quick, not allowing Minnesota's rush to get to him.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense. 15-yard penalty be added on to the end of the play. First down.
And so now the Aggies are really moving down the field. Yards tacked on to the 9-yard pass play.
Stacey Otomewa just getting there a little too late.
Romero with a little bit of time finds Huntley, trying to dance his way down the sideline.
Romero's pass complete to number 1, Huntley.
Brings up 2nd down. And we've seen the patience with Matt Romero and Doug Martin, his head coach, and I talked about that he had yanked him really in the last game on Saturday against Wyoming. He said, you know, I've dealt with a lot of quarterbacks. I've seen them punished early, and they just don't recover. I have to show my faith and my trust in my quarterback right now, and New Mexico State will call another timeout. End of the quarter.
After 1 quarter play, score tied at
7-7. The score. Both of these offenses a little bit slow here to start. And the first touchdown pass of Annexstad's career to Tyler Johnson at New Mexico State, making good on a Minnesota turnover, and that's where we stand. 7-7 the score here, Minnie. Start of the second quarter. James Laurinaitis, Lisa Byington, Michelle McMahon on the sideline with you. New Mexico State marching down the field after scoring towards the end of the first quarter. Here's Matt Romero, their quarterback, scrambling again, extending the play and just throwing it away. Quarterback pressure provided again by Cashman, who's having a heck of a game here so far. Yeah,
Rob Smith dialing up some pressure there, which he does at opportune times. Doug Martin was telling us he doesn't blitz a lot, but when he does, it seems to be right in the right moments. And Romero using his legs again to escape and get rid of the football. Smart decision by the quarterback.
A 3rd and 5 situation, another empty backfield for the Aggies. Romero stepping in, ankle tackle there from Coughlin.
Romero brought down by 45. Carter Coughlin.
Brings up 4th down.
Really nice job and hustle by Carter Coughlin here. Although it's easy when you're not blocked there, Lisa. I always found that football isn't too hard when you're not blocked. But again, great effort by the captain. Getting his first sack of the season after having 6.5 a year ago.
Led the team with those 6.5. Dylan Brown now with a 45-yard attempt. And it is good.
46 yards.
So New Mexico State making good on its last 2 series. A touchdown to end the first quarter and a field goal to take the lead. Second.
Committed to our good pal and colleague Glenn Mason. And just had a change of heart.
Penalty flag is thrown as Rodney Smith tries to muscle his way across the field, but there is a flag on the play.
And that'll be a shame if this one comes back, because the physicality Rodney Smith runs with, evident there on that return. Broke 3
During the return, lock in the back. Return team, number 42. Personal foul, face mask, kicking team, number 7. Penalties offset, and it'll be a free kick.
And Tom Stapleton is our referee here tonight. And so we'll do it again. One more look at it.
Well, this is why I love watching Rodney Smith. Look at this.
Rodney Smith with the 33-yard return. Multiple flags on the field.
That is fun to watch.
You mentioned he's climbing the charts, all-purpose yards in Minnesota history. One thing that he loves doing is exactly this, his return kicks. And you think about all the great running backs in Minnesota history, not all of them were given that opportunity.
He is a really versatile talent. He's not just a running back. He can receive the ball well out of the backfield. You see his ability there on the kick return.
Goes Smith's way again. This time we'll take the touchback. Rodney Smith, a redshirt senior, out of Georgia. You see the 3,885 career all-purpose yards. Big Ten's active leader. 31 starts in 38 games, including tonight. That is the most on this roster, though he doesn't have a whole lot of competition for that stat.
That's right. Well, before this game, he was 1,260 yards, breaking Darrell Thompson's record for all-purpose yardage here at Minnesota. The legend, Darrell Thompson.
Holds all kinds of yards as Smith again gets wrapped up. New Mexico State getting penetration right on the handoff. No gain for Minnesota, bringing up a 2nd and 10 situation.
No yards on the play.
Donovan King there on the stop. By the way, King, his first career start tonight, playing for Jasavia Reese at right end. Instead, dropping back and connecting, and what a move, Rashad Bateman. We see a little bit of why everyone's so excited about that true freshman.
P.J. Fleck loves this kid. A true freshman out of Georgia. He says he has a potential to be an All-American caliber player, and you see here why. Great job breaking the tackle. And if it wasn't for Shamad Lomax laying out and clipping the heels, I think Bateman was going to the house.
Hand off to Smith. Somehow found a crease there. Terrell Hanks with the tackle. A gain of 8 for Smith. So slithered and found some holes there for that gain. Brings up now a 2nd and 2 situation. Again to Smith. for a first down here for Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota saw something there that they liked because they went tempo and ran another run play right up the middle. So they caught New Mexico State some sort of defense that they loved that play with and ran it again.
Pounding the football, a gain of 12. From the 30, Annexstead dropping back. Otten and Bell battling for some extra yards. Ray Buford Jr. on the tackle.
Nice timing there by Annexstead. Delivered that ball where only Bell can catch it. Bell has 10 siblings, 4 brothers and 6 sisters.
It's a football team in the household. Hand off there to Smith, up the gut, across the 10-yard line. And Rodney Smith picking up some steam on this Minnesota drive. A gain of 13.
Looks like Ron LaForce is the one down there for New Mexico State. He was second team All Sun Belt a year ago. Newcomer of the year in the Sun Belt. But Rodney Smith and really the offensive line is doing a nice job opening up holes for him, and he's just attacking downhill. And whenever you watch tape on them, Rodney Smith is most effective when he can make one cut and just go. Really nice job by that offensive line. There was a lot of questions marks about going into this game, opening up some holes against this New Mexico State defense.
Well, Donnell Green is your left tackle. He's a redshirt senior. Connor Olson is a redshirt sophomore, getting the start at left guard. And then you have Jared Weiler, who's a redshirt senior at center. If there is some veteran leadership, that is the position group that supplies it here for Minnesota.
And they have a redshirt freshman in Blaze Andrews, who was the #1 recruit in Minnesota a year ago, redshirted last year, getting the start tonight at right guard.
Wildcat formation now. It's Seth Green, the converted quarterback to receiver, who will take the direct snap. Here's Green trying to muscle his way in. Touchdown, Minnesota. Touchdown run by Seth Green. And Carpenter for the point after. Minnesota has the lead right back.
I tell you what, that's not fair. He's 6'4", the big man, 240. Lowering his shoulder into the end zone for the Golden Gophers. Up 14-10. I'm in the country in track as a sophomore, state champion out of Georgia at 10:32 in the 100 and a 28.4 in the 200 are his personal best. I would say that's elite speed.
And someone keeps track of this. Apparently he's the fastest Big Ten corner commitment since 2010. 2nd and 9 situation, Romero. Way too high. The intended receiver, Jonathan Boone. Brings up 4th down. For a 3rd and 9 situation.
3rd and 9 is what you want to avoid if you're New Mexico State. You don't want to let Minnesota just pin their ears back and rush the passer. We'll see if Rob Smith decides to bring pressure. You have 5 guys along the line of scrimmage.
Again, an empty backfield. New Mexico State. And picked off by Winfield. 2nd interception of the night for Minnesota.
Again, off the hands of a New Mexico State receiver. Antoine Winfield comes up with the interception. Take a look here. Romero trying to hit an in route through the hands again. 2nd interception. That has to be frustrating when you put the ball in the money and they end up in interceptions.
And almost in a similar fashion, Thomas Barber reacting to the deflection in the first quarter.
They're going to take a look at this, see if he got his hands underneath it. Winfield, the son of Antoine Winfield, the former Buckeye and NFL great.
We'll bring in Dick Honig for the first time. He got a break in the first quarter, but Dick's got to earn his little paycheck here in the second quarter. Dick, what are we going to look at on this play?
Well, the question is, James had it right on the thing. Did that ball get to the ground before his arms got underneath it and he pulled it in? It is very, very close. And again, when you have situations that are this close, you go with the call on the field. So it's going to be a tough overturn if they do overturn it.
It was tough from that angle to really tell if his arms were underneath it when the ball hits. You can secure it, but it's just tough to see if that ball moves because of the ground. Let's take another look.
I felt like this angle, you could see the ball hit the ground first. Right there.
Yeah.
Just got to get those hands right underneath it.
You can tell right there that it shifts a little bit. I believe it will be overturned, but sometimes on these reviews, it's a guessing game, isn't it?
Have to have enough video evidence to overturn it. And again, the replay official, James Kemmerling, who will be looking at this.
They had this chance to come back and there's time. They didn't do it.
Dick Honig, this has kind of taken a long time in this review. Are they looking at something else?
I'm surprised because I think that last shot you got fairly clearly showed the ball on the ground between his arms. I think he's going to overturn this to an incompleted pass.
After review, the ball touched the ground. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down and 9 on the 37-yard line, and the clock will start on the snap.
And so the call is reversed. I think you agree with that, right, James?
I do. After seeing that second replay, it looked like the ball moved. Whenever the ball is still below the forearms on a catch like that, you can really tell that the ball hit the ground. The ground altered the reception.
So Winfield won't get the interception. We got a fake punt. New Mexico State looking for the first down. It's going to be close. That's Royce Caldwell taking it on the fake. So a gutsy call for the Aggies. They do get the first down. A fake punt of 10 yards for Doug Martin.
Doug Martin told us on our conference call that he wanted to get Royce Caldwell the football. We didn't think he'd be on the punt unit. He said he's blazing fast and has speed. Cashman just couldn't get him down.
Whirling on the field as the runner made the line to gain for a first down. The play is under further review.
And this play will be under review. And a potential look on if they got the first down or not, possibly.
It's always hard when you're dealing with the spot of the football, too, because it has to be so obvious in order to overturn something. We'll see where his knee touches. At least I don't think he was down until after he rolled over Cashman. Let's take another look at it. That's close. It's tough to tell where the marker is.
Well, we will check back in with our rules analyst, Dick Honig. Dick, where are you seeing this spot on this play?
Again, I think James had it right. I'm not sure there was anything down when the body went over the defender then gave him that extra yard. It's hard to see. We have not seen a replay that allows us to change that, make that decision that any other part of his body other than his feet touched the ground.
The ruling on the field of a first down stands.
And so the call stands, which means there was no video evidence to overturn.
See, Lisa, that's why you're nice to officials. Because
they'll agree with you all the time?
They repay the favor later on.
I'm sick of saying I agree with James already in this corner. Romero steps up. He's got plenty of room to run, and he's got himself a first down.
Romero, the ball carrier, 14-yard gain.
Tony Durr there on the tackle for Minnesota. Junior, a gain of 14 for New Mexico State.
And again, the feet of Romero making that defense pay. When he has a lane, he just decides to take off. He has been effective tonight. 8 rushes for 35 yards.
Fake to Huntley. As Romero rolls out, they'll go back to Huntley, nearly intercepted. And again, it's Blake Cashman almost making the play. He's been in and around the quarterback. He's been in and around coverage. He's having, again, a heck of a first half.
And Rob Smith said, sitting down with us, that a year ago, he was just a coverage guy. He played safety in high school, as I mentioned. They said that he thinks that he can really make a jump. He coached in the NFL. He called him elite. And Rob Smith thinks that Blake Cashman is an NFL-type linebacker playing on defense.
The play.
Hold the automatic first down.
That's Keandre Thomas. Whistle for the penalty. Redshirt sophomore. And so penalties and turnovers have been big for Minnesota. And by the way, this is a Gopher team that last year was one of the best in care of the classmen this year. But a much different story in this first half for Minnesota. Romero swings it out to Huntley. And another flag.
I think it's going to be a holding on O.J. Clark in the slot.
Holding. Offense number 2. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
I hate to say it, but you were right, James.
Whenever you have bubble plays like that, quick passes, and the defender there, Jacob Huff, attacks it and gets penetration, a lot of holding calls will come about. You'll see here, he's turned his body completely. It wasn't on Huff, it was on Antonio Chenault. Did a really nice job in the slot of attacking the block. And when you do that and you get on an edge, you can draw the holding calls. Nice tackle by Huff, though.
Ball on the 40, now a 1st and 20. The 4-receiver set here for the Aggies. Connects to Dan.
Pass complete to number 9, Dan.
Tackle again by Durr. Gain of 5.
We've seen that play a lot out of New Mexico State. They're just motioning Huntley out, trying to get the defense to flow away from the double slants on the opposite side of the field, trying to open up those windows, make sure there's not a zone linebacker cutting underneath routes. Nice open field tackle.
There's Romero looking downfield. And again to Boone.
Pass complete to 13, Boone.
I've been impressed so far with Matt Romero to see the jump from week 1 to week 2. It's been very impressive. And that's what Rob Smith told us. I asked him about watching the tape and seeing the film a week ago against Wyoming when they didn't do much. He said, listen, the biggest jump is always week 1 to week 2, so we have to be ready.
Romero looking to his right. Sandwich.
Number 36, Blake Cashman off. Golden Gophers.
That's his 2nd sack of the night for Blake Cashman. Look at 36 here, spying. He decides to attack. Good pressure there by Asezi Otomewa as well. Rob Smith high on him. 4th down.
And the Aggies going for it here on 4th and 1. Pass up. Antonio Chenault making another big play.
Really nice job of Chenault playing through the ball, not getting called for pass interference. Great timing by him.
We've got a competitive one here between New Mexico State and Minnesota. The Gophers shutting them down on 4th down. Thomas Barber, a 4th-generation Gopher, and that Barber name has a lot of history behind it. Michelle McMahon tracking down that history in the stands. Michelle.
Yeah, he is 6th all-time on the rushing list here at Minnesota. He is Marion Barber, and he's kind enough to give us some of his time today. And you played at Minnesota in addition to 3 of your sons, so it goes without saying, but how special is the University of Minnesota to your family?
Very special. I would consider this my second love. Of course, my wife Karen being my first. But this has been a beautiful experience for our family. The boys, this is all they ever wanted to do since they were yay high, and they wanted to be a part of this university.
Thomas Barber is one of the few upperclassmen on this team. How much pride do you take in watching your son play at the stadium you once did?
I'm just living in the moments. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I sent him something this morning just talking about how proud I am, not just of his athletic prowess, but just he's a great student and a great person, and he's just lovable to be around.
Lastly, a fellow foe, James Laurinaitis, is up in the booth. How did you let a Minnesota kid get out of the state and go to Ohio State real quick?
You know what? It was a surprise to all of us. We didn't know that until he put on the hat on signing day and said, I'm going to Ohio State. James is a great guy. I love his family, man. We grew up in the hockey rink, he and Dom, and I'm so proud of him, too. So, hey, James.
And then with that, we send it back up to you guys.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Meanwhile, during that interview, a big completion to Tyler Johnson. And Rodney Smith then picking up a second first down. Ibrahim getting the carry here for Minnesota.
Running hard on that carry. You see why the coaches like him and are high in his future.
They made him the backup going into tonight.
Another freshman, redshirt freshman for P.J. Fleck. He's going to see a lot of time this season for the Gophers.
We got action there in the line.
Offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's your left tackle, Donnell Green. That's your redshirt senior. Maybe a little jumpy here in game number 1.
They are high on him as well. I've heard a lot of people say that he has a future in the National Football League. 6'7", 320. All Big Ten honorable mention a year ago.
Smith is back in. Annexstad threads the needle. And pass complete again to Ottman Bell for the first down.
I think that was his best throw of the night. He had a zone player in LaForce underneath him, and the timing to be able to put it just inside here of LaForce.
And off to Smith. Cuts right, cuts left, taken down just across the 5-yard line.
New Mexico State brought pressure here, and a really nice job. Minnesota picking it up. Rodney Smith again. Cutting it off. Sam Struther, the big right tackle from Victoria, Minnesota.
Annexstad to Smith, gets tripped up. Louis Famasino and Miles Bean there on the stop. To Bean's helmet. Second and goal situation. What do you do here?
Well, they just tried to run the football, so I expect a pass here. Open it up a little bit. Although they still have some big personnel out there. And it looks like they might be going back to that Wildcat with Seth Green.
Already scored on 1 touchdown. A 9-yard run with Green in the Wildcat. Green again will keep it. Touchdown number 2, Seth Green. 11-point advantage. Back-to-back scores for Seth Green. Minnesota giving opponents something to think about. And with a flag on the extra point attempt.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense, number 77, 15-yard penalty, and we'll replay the try.
It's Blaze Andrews. As the head coach talks to his true freshman quarterback. So they will back it up and try the extra point one more time. Kick is up and kick is good. Emmett Carpenter has only missed one extra point attempt in his career and makes good on that. 21-10 is the advantage thanks to the Wildcat by Minnesota.
The big man lowering the shoulder.
Back-to-back touchdowns is the Wildcat special for one PJ Fleck. First a 9-yard run by Seth Green, and then the last one a 3-yard run by Seth Green. And 21-10 is your score. Well, this is one Big Ten team in action on this Thursday night. We'll go to the studio in Chicago for Dave Revson for a couple others. Dave?
Lisa, thanks. Yeah, conference opener Northwestern and Purdue. Clayton Thorson did start for Northwestern 4 for 4 on the first drive. Jeremy Larkin walks us in for the touchdown. 7-0 Wildcats.
Dave, thank you very much. You know, it's kind of ironic that there were 3 quarterbacks you could see in that game, and neither head coach was giving us an inch on any of the 3 quarterbacks if they would play tonight.
That's the gamesmanship of college football, being able to withhold that information, because you don't want to show your hand of which guy to prepare for either coach.
Empty backfield again for New Mexico State. James Laurinaitis, where do you have? I'm curious, Purdue and Northwestern in your power rankings this year.
Well, Purdue I have at 9, Northwestern at 7. My top 5 naturally would have the top 5 ranked teams in the AP pool, but Penn State at 5th, Michigan State, Michigan, Wisconsin, then the Ohio State Buckeyes at 1.
Romero going deep downfield. His intended receiver again, Jonathan Boone. You know, Penn State, I noticed that as a Buckeye, you had Michigan at 3, and some people might say, why you got Penn State down there at the 5 position?
Well, this just speaks to the strength of the conference and really the Big Ten East, because I can see any one of those teams in the top 5 winning the Big Ten championship and going to the college football playoff. But when you have to replace not only Saquon Barkley, but your all-time leader in receptions in Deshaun Hamilton, your most productive tight end in terms of receptions and yards, and Mike Gesicki, that's a tall order.
Here's a 3rd and 10 situation. And it was Tavis Abraham who went down to the field, got tripped up. Keandre Thomas on the coverage. Brings up 4th down.
You know, one thing I noticed, Lisa, at practice is Coach Smith, every time they were going through walkthrough even, and it was a 3rd down, everyone raised their fist signaling 4th down. It's a mindset that every time they're going to play a 3rd down play, everyone was going to assume that 4th down was coming.
It's a mindset, and it's a reminder for a really young team. 53% on this roster are freshmen. Here's Winfield fielding the punt. Spins off of a couple tacklers. He's still on his feet. Winfield still going. Down the sideline, getting a couple blocks across the 10-yard line. Antoine Winfield, what a tank. Minnesota touchdown. 75 yards. And a 28-10 advantage. It's a BTN standout play presented by Auto Owners.
Winfield here showing his return ability, breaking numerous tackles. And the effort to stay in bounds, to not go down, extremely impressive. Rob Smith told us, Lisa, that he was going to be used like Jabril Peppers. But I tell you what, he's showing that return ability like Jabril Peppers right here. He's already made a huge impact on this game, close to coming up with an interception that was overturned. But his thumbprint has been all over the field tonight for the Gophers.
You said it. We're not saying that he's Jabril Peppers, but the way that they're using him in the return game and the fact that they can shift him around 2-3 spots perhaps defensively.
Dynamic playmaker. The barometer that Rob Smith set of their defense. He was saying that they go as he goes on defense. One of your leaders and one of your big-time playmakers makes a play in the special teams area, it just elevates the entire team.
He's got a dad who could play too. We heard from Marion Barber, but Antoine Sr. could play a little bit at a school you know really well.
Played for the Vikings as well. Grew up a big Antoine Winfield fan. The best tackling corner maybe in the history of football.
Ooh, and with that comment, we'll take a break. 28-10 is your score. Minnesota over New Mexico State. The first punt return touchdown since Marcus Jones took it 65 yards at New Mexico State, by the way, back in 2013, the last time these two teams met. Oh, and Huntley looking to create a little bit. Both of these teams, you see their first-string running backs in the return game. Jason Huntley for New Mexico State. Both wearing number 1s, too.
Not too dissimilar from Rodney Smith. Huntley has 1,316 all-purpose yards last year for the Aggies.
They love to use him in so many different ways. Just didn't get the opportunity to do that against Wyoming. Too many 3-and-outs in that game. Again looking to throw. And it's bobbled by his receiver, Jonathan Boone.
I think Jonathan Boone saw Julian Huff, the twin brother of Jacob, out of the corner of his eye. Dropped the football. Julian goes by Juju.
Again, and again trying to find Boone. And Julian Huff is the linebacker. Jacob Huff is the safety. Identical twins. The joke in the family is that when one's playing well, one is not playing well. They got to get on the same page, at least for this year, hopefully, for Minnesota fans.
They have a brother who plays running back at Northern Illinois as well. Very talented family.
Christian Gibson is your back right now for New Mexico State. Again, they're trying to air it out. And again, the same target in Boone. Through the arms. And Keandre Thomas was there.
Really nice job by Keandre Thomas here of looking back for the football. Got away with a little bit of a tug on the back of that jersey.
You saw that.
But fortunate for him, the ref that had his eyes on him was in front of him.
And look who's there to greet him right when he's running off the field is his head coach, P.J. Fleck. Romero now 7 straight incompletions. We've seen your power rankings, James Laurinaitis. We saw your top 5. You said any one of those teams has a chance to win a Big Ten championship, and there you see where they're ranked here nationally with those 5.
Yeah, the AP does not agree with my power rankings, but I'll tell you what, this is so impressive for the strength of the Big Ten Conference, which I believe is the strongest that it's ever been at this moment, not just with the talent level, but with the head coaches in the entire Big Ten. From top to bottom, there are guys that have pedigree, that have been known to turn around programs. And whenever you have a NFL caliber head coach at Illinois who's been struggling the last couple of years, it just shows you the strength of the conference. And we expect Lovie Smith to try to turn it around there in Champaign.
Of course, the Big Ten on the outside looking in for the college football playoff last year. Winfield that time muffs the punt. Maybe he was thinking about his return the other time. Sunday, it's a marquee women's soccer matchup on BTN. The Gophers look to take down top-ranked Stanford. Don't miss women's soccer. That's Sunday at 1 Eastern on BTN. And, of course, streaming live on the Fox Sports app. Stanford, your defending national champ. Minnesota last year finishing 2nd in the regular season. It was a punt of 52 yards. As this Gopher offense will go back to work. Behind the arm. And the leadership right now, their true freshman walk-on quarterback. Annexstead connects to Johnson.
We saw this last year. Tyler Johnson's biggest receptions were off of these play-action fakes, these in-cuts that he runs. Nice job. When you're able to run the football like the Gophers have been able to, already 101 yards collectively on the ground today. It opens up the windows behind the linebackers in those play-action passes.
Johnson about 60 yards here in this first half. His best catch, by the way, came in the spring game. A one-handed grab right here on this very field. And they give it to Smith. And they'll let him do his work. Pushed out. Andrews and Olsen with the key blocks on that run.
Again, this offensive line has done a good job all night creating holes for Rodney Smith. A good sign for this young Gopher football team.
Smith, one-on-one, the stiff arm for the first down.
They love running this play. They bring the tight end back across the line of scrimmage. Jake Paulson. What it does is Smith is able to cut back to where the tight end's going.
129 yards just in the first half. 13-yard gain. Annexstead back to throw. Intended for the freshman who bobbles it. Demetrius Douglas nearly brought it down. Shamad Lomax there on the coverage.
Nice play there by Lomax. Clean pocket. Minnesota goes max protection with 7 people in the block. Lomax's arm getting up in there. Versatile player, Shamad Lomax. He's physical. He has corner talent with Ray Buford coming, moved him to safety, but he showed right there he can still play man coverage well on wide receivers. Nice play.
Romero slings it, connects. Johnson has a wide open lane for the touchdown. For Tyler Johnson. And this Minnesota offense is sharing the wealth a little bit in this first half. 35-10, under a minute to play.
Nice job here by Annexstad to get the ball to Johnson. He does the rest, making people miss, finding his way to the end zone.
Reception yards for Johnson on that drive. What'd you like on this play?
Well, he saw the blitz, and he's fading away from the pressure, giving Johnson the opportunity to run his route. Very savvy move. And again, throwing with anticipation. Has Zach Annexstad all night. That's been the most impressive thing, is that usually young players wait for the route to get open and then they throw it a little bit late. His anticipation has been very impressive tonight.
Huntley will let it go. And so how do you grade out the true freshman in this first half?
Well, I mean, the only negative was the missed snap, the fumble that gave New Mexico State an opportunity to have short field position. Other than that, I thought his timing has been great. His accuracy has been very impressive, and you can see why he won the job.
Offside. Kicking team number 22. 5-yard penalty will be re-kicked.
It's Benny Sapp the third. The penalty was called on. We knew we might see him a little bit here today.
It was funny talking to Rob Smith about Benny Sapp. He mentioned that he coached his dad at Iowa.
He said that you promised you wouldn't say that.
Well, I told him there's no chance we wouldn't say that on there. He said it's the first time in his career that he's coached a father-son combo.
Now you just exposed his age. James Laurinaitis, Michelle McMahon, Lisa Byington with you. Minnesota, though, 28 unanswered points after trailing 10-7 in this first half. And a low kick this time. Here's Hundley. Zach Annexstad, the question would be, how would the true freshman walk-on perform in the first half? He's performed.
Yes, he has, and he's done a really good job with anticipation, finding the windows, understanding the routes, and I think really commanding this offense. He's done a great job of stepping up there, changing plays when the sideline has called for it. One of the benefits that PJ Fleck said about getting a quarterback from IMG is the fact that they play the best competition week in, week out. They're coached very well. The stage isn't too big for him. That's evident here tonight with the way that he's performed.
Not only a good quarterback from IMG, but a pretty good recruiter, too, from IMG. As Romero again with the empty backfield. Off the hands of his intended receiver, Christian Gibson, who had motioned out of the backfield. See that kind of formation a lot here with the Aggies. Use Huntley as a receiver, Christian Gibson as a receiver. Romero again. That time he connects with Boone. He went to Boone 3 straight times on the last drive to no success.
They're going tempo, trying to get some points here before the half.
Again, keeps his feet in, and another first down. Boone once again.
Terrell Smith playing off, giving a lot of cushion. an easy throw, easy rhythm throw when you play that far off.
Gain of 11 across midfield. Romero looking to his left. Pass is complete. Royce Caldwell getting out of bounds to stop the clock at 26.
We thought we'd see Royce Caldwell on offense a little bit tonight, a former wide receiver. You would think would be utilized in the receiving game a lot out of the backfield. It's his first action.
Pressure's coming. Romero had to get rid of it quickly. Sam Renner applying it. One of the players awarded a scholarship by PJ Fleck. Got it in the spring game a few months ago. Brings up a 3rd and 6 situation. Pass complete to Boone. And a flag is down.
I think it's going to be holding on New Mexico State. A really nice play by Antonio Chenault. Again, he drew the holding on the last time there was a holding call on New Mexico State because he's aggressive and he's attacking.
Well, he's got that mix where his coaches say he's got quick feet, but he's awful tough as well.
Rob Smith calling him just consistent. They can rely on him in the slot there.
Personal foul. Clipping. Offense number 10. 10-yard penalty. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Repeat 3rd down.
That's Isaiah Lottie, redshirt junior wide receiver.
Well, that's a tough penalty too because they're in that situation where it could have been 4th and 4 or so. You might go for it. The plus 39. Now you're backed up. 3rd and 19.
Connecting in a hard tackle made, well short of the first down. Keandre Thomas.
Attacked by 31 Thomas.
Again, you see those fists come up for the 4th down for Minnesota.
End of the second quarter.
End of the first half. The story for Minnesota. A true freshman walk-on quarterback getting support and performing in his first start in front of his hometown fans. But 28 unanswered points for Minnesota after trailing 10-7 in this first half.
I've been impressed with both sides of the ball from Minnesota tonight. We've talked a lot about Annexstad. He's done a great job, but this Gophers defense, only giving up the touchdown because of the missed snap early in the game, has done a good job so far in this first half.
Zach Annexstad, 10 of 16 in this first half, 162 yards, accounting for a couple of touchdowns. And this Minnesota offense showing a little creativity, too, running the Wildcat package for a couple of scores as well. Let's check in with Michelle, who's with PJ Fleck.
Lisa, thanks. Coach, 28 unanswered points to finish out the first half. But what did you see out of your young freshman quarterback, Zach Annexstad?
Response, poise. You know, it wasn't easy for him. You know, he throws the ball in the middle of somebody's back. Ball fumbles, runs right by him, and then he continues to respond. But that's why we picked him. That's what he is. He's going to make mistakes. We all know that. But the way he has, the composure he has, and the poise he has the ability to respond.
It's the story of youth on this team. You said this team's going to have to grow up fast. We're going to draw on your teaching experience here. How would you grade your team as a whole in the first?
About a C, a D minus, D plus. I'll give him a D plus. D plus.
Coach, thanks so much. Lisa, back to you.
Wouldn't expect much, anything less from the head coach in game number 1. He's a hard grader, but his team leads right now at the half, 35-10. We will take a quick timeout and send it to our guys in Chicago after this quick break.
And look at the rush yards. I mean, from 23 to 111. That makes a big difference. When you're able to run the football, it opens up those windows for your quarterback.
129 of those yards coming from Rodney Smith. Motions out. Pass complete to Bateman. Rashad Bateman, we saw one big catch that he made. That's a gain of 5. But again, Rashad Bateman, a Georgia native, you had already talked about in the first half that P.J. Fleck didn't even hesitate when he said he's going to be an All-American.
Yeah, he said he's going to be an All-American. He's going to be one of those guys. He said that he was ahead of Corey Davis at this point in his career, which is high praise. Corey Davis, the first-round draft pick to the Tennessee Titans.
And he will work his way around, approaching the 50-yard line. And the flag's down.
Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield. Kicking team, 5-yard penalty to the end of the return, first down.
And again, a penalty situation, awfully different from Minnesota. A lot of youth, a lot of inexperience. And Zach Annexstad on the phone chatting it up with his coaches. Kurt Shiraka, your offensive coordinator for Minnesota. Hand off to Hundley. Will be brought down just short of the 40. Winfield and Cashman again there on the tackle. Gain of 5 for New Mexico State. And Romero. Pass broken up. Terrell Smith was there. Pass intended for Drew Dan.
A really nice job here by Smith, playing through the football, recognizing that the receiver was looking back, turns his head around, and that's why there's no pass interference call.
Empty set again for New Mexico State, getting tied up a little bit, no flag. Again, Dan, the intended receiver, and Keandre Thomas with the coverage. Doug Martin, his team playing on last Saturday against Wyoming, had to turn around and be prepared to play in this game on the road just a few days later. He said that he had to prepare for Minnesota, and his coaching staff really had to prepare for this quick turnaround really in the summer. And one of the advantages of having a quick turnaround here early in the regular season. It's blocked. The chase is on, and the scoop. A big play on special teams.
I believe that was Sam Renner, the D lineman from Maple Grove, Minnesota. Close to where I grew up, Lisa. Mentioned earlier how much they love this kid. They just let him go. You leave too early, you have a free shot. But what's amazing is that P.J. Fleck was emphasizing to his punt return unit.
It's our All-State Mayhem moment. And the block from Renner. And the recovery from Coughlin.
P.J. Fleck was harping on the details that if you block a punt to scoop and score, there's no reason to jump on the ball because you get it anyway. And so, nice job by Coughlin, listening to his head coach. It's about the little details a lot of time on those walkthroughs the day before a game.
Now it's a question if Minnesota can take advantage. Ibrahim in the backfield this time for the Gophers. Hand off to Ibrahim. Hangs on. Some willing tacklers there as Hood was there first, getting his first start of this year. Gain of 3. Hood, one of the players on this defense for New Mexico State, getting a start because 5 defensive players, normal starters for the Aggies, either out because of injury or academic reasons. 3rd and 5 situation for Minnesota. An ankle tackle from Shane Jackson. Brings up 4th down. What do you do?
I think you got to kick the field goal.
But what do? You agree with that?
Yeah, I do. You got a big lead. You're up 35-10.
A 27-yard attempt. The most accurate kicker in Minnesota football history. Makes good on it. Well, this field goal is set up by the special teams from the Gophers. There is a reason why Runner was given a scholarship. This is one of them. You say one thing about P.J. Fleck, he loves what he does, and he loves his players. Talking to his 2 tight ends there, going into the break. A little tough love, and then I love you guys right after that.
Well, you can see the teacher in him. Whenever you're around him, you can just always see him trying to educate his players. You see his passion. He loves what he does, and he believes in what he does.
Year 2 of Row the Boat here in Minneapolis. Orchestrated, of course, one of the best turnarounds when he was the head coach at Western Michigan. And he's got a tough test ahead of him this year. Doesn't know what to expect. Again, 53% of the roster freshmen. But these Golden Gophers in this youth have responded after trailing 10-7. You saw it. They had quite a second quarter to put themselves in a position of where they're at right now.
He has to be happy with this young talent on offense. Not only Annexstad, but to have Ottman, Bell, Bateman, Douglas all make an impact at wideout.
That's Romero connecting with O.J. Clark. And Thomas and Chenault there on the tackle. Smith and Cashman, both with 6 tackles total for Minnesota to lead the way here for the Gophers tonight. Chenault's not that far away. Breaking off a tackle. And brought down is Drew Dan.
Pass completes at 9, Dan. Take the pump on the tackle. 24-yard gain of 11.
Dan 3 catches for 23 yards. Behind Lottie and Boone, who have over 50 receiving yards tonight for New Mexico State.
Number 1, Huntley, the ball carrier.
Loss of 1 on the carry by Jason Huntley.
Run defense was a problem a year ago for the Gophers. They wanted to get better at that. Only 51 yards allowed on the ground today.
Here's Romero again looking to create.
Romero's the ball carrier.
Royal Silver with the tackle. Tuesday, Troy Johnson and Jenny Dell are back for another season of Campus Eats as they show you some of the best brunch spots around the Big Ten. Catch an all-new Campus Eats Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern right here on BTN. One of my favorite shows to watch after, of course, I've had my lunch or my dinner. Pass is complete for a first down, an Aggie first down. Jonathan Boone gets it.
Nice job there by Matt Romero, staying in the pocket, staying with it. Good timing on the throw there to Boone.
Gain of 12. Romero pretty confident in going Boone's way, Dan's way, and O.J. Clark's way. And another quick pickup to Dan.
I think if you're New Mexico State, you're encouraged by what you've seen out of Matt Romero in Game 2 versus Game 1. I know the scoreboard doesn't reflect that necessarily, but keep in mind, too, there's been a lot of drops by his wide receivers today.
Romero fakes the handoff and runs right into guess who? Blake Cashman. Cashman has been all over.
Behind the line by Cashman. 5-yard loss on the play.
That's Cashman's third tackle for loss today. Just technique sound. Comes from a great high school program at Eden Prairie, coached by Mike Grant, son of the legendary Bud Grant, Vikings coach. 4 straight state titles in high school.
Third down, Romero's got to create. There's a flag down. And the shoe's off. And we got a flag and a shoe in the backfield.
Holding, offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, third down.
Brian Trujillo. The left guard for New Mexico State, number 78.
And he's working there on Sam Renner. And a lot of times when you're engaged with somebody and the defender tries to throw, it's just a natural to hold. Again, pushes them out of 4-down territory.
Well, 3rd and 19. And he was down. They ruled Royce Caldwell down and well short of the first down. Odomewa making the big play for Minnesota.
Rob Smith is high on Osezi Odomewa. So he's a talented edge rusher, but he wants to get him on some packages, have him work against guards. And boy, does he look the part.
Winfield took one back in the first half. And won't get the chance to do it here in the third quarter. We will take a timeout. 38-10, your score in Minneapolis. Welcome back indeed. And it's nice to have you on our first game, on our first night here on the network. Minnesota and New Mexico State. James Laurinaitis, Michelle McMahon, Lisa Byington with you. We got plenty of football to talk about even tomorrow. Michigan State opens up, and then a full slate on Saturday. Minnesota wearing the white jerseys, the white road jerseys here tonight. New Mexico State in the black jerseys. There's all kinds of action going on when you look at the preseason AP poll and you see that some of the matchups in the games we have going on. Which one are you excited to see?
Well, there's 2, Lisa. I'm really excited to see Washington and Auburn. I believe the Pac-12 needs this game. They need Washington from a national perspective to get some respect. And also Michigan, Notre Dame. You got 2 programs there, not only the rivalry, but just it sets your tone for the entire season if you got the gate with a big win.
Michigan's big question is the quarterback situation and how effective can transfer Shea Patterson be. And what a game to open up with. And facing the Fighting Irish, they're spinning out of some trouble is Rodney Smith. If there's anyone who can adjust to a style and a quarterback, you feel, though, it's Jim Harbaugh who can do that.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about Shea Patterson and just how is he going to adjust and help Michigan. And I think really it's about Harbaugh adjusting. And I've got a good example for you. When I played against him when I was with the Rams and he was at the 49ers, we were part of the game where Alex Smith got knocked out. And then Colin Kaepernick came in. And they changed from a heavy 2-back offense to more of a pistol, spread it out a little bit, and they run the same concepts out of a little different personnel, and they cater to what Colin Kaepernick did. Well, I think he'll do the similar things with Shea Patterson.
Looking deep to Johnson there on that attempt. Quarterback situation, we're looking at one here. Zach Anixted trying to go deep on a 3rd down opportunity here from Minnesota will bring up 4th down.
Zach's been slightly off in the second half. The timing and the rhythm on the deep balls hasn't been exact. He's missed a couple.
O.J. Clark back to receive. Right around the 43-yard line. 6 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Minnesota still leading comfortably. Opening up on the season for P.J. Fleck and this Minnesota football program has become a little bit of a recent tradition for the Gophers. Their first game coming on a Thursday night under the lights, and our first game here on BTN. Romero, that time going deep. An incomplete intended receiver was Drew Dan. Let's check in our Chicago studios one more time.
At least updating you on Northwestern and Purdue. The Wildcats punch it in from the 1-yard line. T.J. Green with the quarterback sneak. 24-14, but Purdue on the move.
And with Clayton Thorson starting in that game, James Laurinaitis here, you like Northwestern's chances behind Thorson's arm.
I do. I really like Thorson. I love the job that Pat Fitzgerald does there year in, year out. And I just felt that with Thorson, you have an NFL caliber quarterback. If they could get production at the tailback position with Justin Jackson, I think a very underrated running back for his career. Not too many people know outside the Big Ten of his production of 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. But if they can find a replacement for him, you have a chance anytime you have a quarterback like Thorson.
On 3rd and 10, Romero forced to throw, and it was right on target for Holbrook, who couldn't bring it down. Pass is incomplete, but that hit him right at the numbers.
Yeah, nice throw by Romero, and drops. Drops are hurting New Mexico State's offense, and there have been 5 or 6 of these today. Great timing. He was open.
And so goes the disconnect with this New Mexico State offense. Antoine Winfield again back to receive. We'll let it roll into the end zone. 5:37, and we will take a timeout from Minneapolis. College football is back. Annexstad back to work for Minnesota. Gets flushed out and throws it away. Isn't it fitting that the Scott Frost era would debut at Nebraska in prime time under the lights with everybody watching?
It's very fitting with all the hype surrounding Scott Frost, and well-deserved hype. It is fitting that it'd be on prime time, and I'm excited to see what he does there in Lincoln. I believe that they have talent to be competitive in the West this year, and knowing his history in recruiting, I think it's going to be a year or two, you're going to see Nebraska, Wisconsin competing year in, year out in the West.
Handoff to Ibrahim. And the tackle is made by Hood. Of course, Adrian Martinez is the big story, getting the start as a freshman for Nebraska. JT Daniels, by the way, at USC, also getting the start. So freshmen are the story, but first-year starting quarterbacks here in this conference, a big story.
Absolutely, and we've talked about Shea Patterson, but you have Dwayne Haskins at Ohio State. You have Art Sitkowski, who is Zach Annexstad's teammate at IMG, getting the start at Rutgers as a true freshman. And then, as you mentioned, Adrian Martinez for Scott Frost. Exciting times at some big programs. Talk about Michigan, Ohio State, Nebraska. Those are big programs, first-time starters.
Annexstad on 3rd and 8. And connects with Johnson right at the first down marker. Tackles made by Shane Jackson. And it'll be a first down for Minnesota. Well, if you're unfamiliar with Annexstad's story, you mentioned he's an IMG product. He did have to beat out Sitkowski, but he had to beat him out really kind of mid-season. The second true freshman walk-on to start a season opener for a Power 5 team. You got to go back to Baker Mayfield in 2013. That worked out well for Baker Mayfield, not so well for Texas Tech. And a little bit of a mistimed throw and a route as DeMarcus Owens is on the coverage.
It looked there like Autumn Bell did not really expect the ball. He ran his route and he saw that Owens had outside leverage, kind of gave up on the route, just threw the timing off.
PJ Fleck talking about Bateman, Ottman, Bell, and Douglas. Says not a lot of people in the nation know about them. You know, the pattern, the chemistry, the connection. Here is Ottman Bell. With the connection. They were so excited, actually, to see Chris Ottman Bell play last year. I mean, Fleck had raved about him, had the best training camp out of anyone going into 2017. Then he got a foot injury, so he had to redshirt last season. And Louis Farmasino is the player who is down for New Mexico State.
If you're an Aggie fan, you don't want to see that. You're already without Javon Ferguson, who had 15 tackles last Saturday against Wyoming.
And as they tend to him, we will step aside for a moment. They're helping off Farmasino, tended to there on the field. And we resume action in a 3rd and 4 situation after a 6-yard gain on the last pass play for Minnesota. It was deflected and somehow fell into the arms of Rashad Bateman.
Well,
that's one way to catch a pass.
Billy Knipp comes in for Farmasino. He gets his hand on the football in his first action of the night, and Bateman doesn't give up on it. Great concentration to stay with the play for the first down. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck.
Pickup of 9. Rashad Bateman mentioned that he's the Georgia native. Minnesota got in early on the recruitment of Bateman. And then later he got some SEC offers and some ACC offers, but he stayed loyal here to the Gophers. Hand off to Smith. Across the 50.
And Rodney Smith had a great night. Up over 100 yards. The Gophers are 9-1, but Rodney Smith goes over 100 yards.
He had that in the first half.
He did. He has 147 now on 21 carries, averaging 7 yards a pop.
Added 9 on that play. Smith again. Why not? Chew up some clock and feed your meal ticket. That's exactly what Minnesota has been doing.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, anytime you get Rodney Smith the ball and he's productive, the Gophers win football games. So if you're a Gopher fan, you're excited to see this. You're excited to see him healthy, his vision, how hard he's running the football. Because when he's successful, your team is successful. And the more that he can be effective, it's going to open up things for Zach Annexstad throughout the whole season.
What did Kirk Shiraka tell us, the offensive coordinator? He said he fixes things.
He fixes things for him.
Isn't that something for a player who you know is going to touch the ball several times in a game? Annexstad trying to air it out. Johnson lost his footing a little bit. Crowd thought there was a little bit of contact.
Minnesota being pretty balanced offensively today. The 192 pass yards and 161 on the ground. Talking to Kirk Shiraka, asking him what he wants out of this offense. He said he wanted to be extremely balanced. He said he wants to be able to win a football game, Lisa. Whether he has to put it through the air for 400 yards to win it or run it for 400, he wants to be able to have that flexibility.
2nd and 10. To Smith. No. It's Annexstad who keeps it. Fooled me, and he takes it for the first down. Ron LaForce with the tackle. And Annexstad moving the chains, a 12-yard gain.
Well, this coaching staff kept telling us that Zach is more athletic than people give him credit for. You see some of that right there. The confident decision. Kirk Shiraka said he wants out of his quarterback someone who's accurate, a confident decision maker, and has high functional intelligence. Annexstad showing the confident decision-making ability right there.
Annexstad once again. Pass is complete. They're going to call it a catch for Bateman. There's your athletic move from the true freshman.
Minnesota trying to go fast so that they don't review this. Not fast enough.
It was a completed catch and out of
They
bounds
tried.
at the 1-yard line. The play is under further review.
And all he has to do is get a foot down. We will take a couple looks at this. It looked pretty. And again, the call on the field is that it was a catch.
Well, a really nice job. It looks like that left. That's tough. Did the right toe come down first? Did the right foot come down first before the left? It almost looked like he stepped out of bounds before.
All right, we'll bring in our rules analyst, Dick Honig. Looks like that white shoe touched the white sideline. Dick, what did you see?
Yeah, at the 4.5-yard line, he stepped out of bounds without contact, which makes him ineligible to be the first to touch a pass. So it is an incompleted pass.
Oh, there he is, his right foot, as Dick Honig was saying.
Nice job, though, by Bateman adjusting to the football. The ball was underthrown. His ability to recognize that shows his athleticism.
Now, yeah, the call, Tom Stapleton has made his decision.
After review, the runner had stepped out of bounds and did not reestablish itself. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10 at the 30-yard line.
And to put a period on that, Dick Honig, just want to explain to our viewers the difference from being pushed out of bounds and going out of bounds on your own volition.
Yeah, when there is contact on a receiver, his momentum takes him out of bounds. It is ignored as long as he comes back, as Tom Stapleton said, and reestablishes himself back in. But we don't think there was contact on that play.
Dick Honig, our rules analyst. Thank you, Dick. Handoff this time to Smith. No gain. Roy Lopez on the tackle. Well, still, even though it didn't count officially, it was kind of impressive to watch Bateman go to work.
Yeah, it looked pretty. See his athleticism and his ability to come back to the football. That's not easy when you're running on the field to twist your body like that, trying to get your toes down.
Loss of 2 brings up a 3rd and 12. Annexted being pressured. Connects with Smith. Breaks one tackle, breaks a couple across the 15. Maxon Owens on the tackle.
Nice play call by Kirk Shiraka there with the screen on 3rd and long.
And Code Keefe is the player who's down for Minnesota after a gain of 21. Again, this tight end position so important for P.J. Fleck. Keefe and Paulson. We saw the head coach talk to both of them earlier on the sideline. Of course, the graduation of Brandon Lingan and Nate Wozniak.
They're asked to do a lot, Lisa. They're asked to block at the point of attack a bunch. They're asked to come back and block on defensive ends. As PJ was talking to us, they're asked to insert on linebackers a lot of time. You have to be a really tough dude to play tight end for PJ Fleck. Keefe does that. He's been battling with an ankle through camp. They didn't know if he was going to go tonight. Shows his toughness to battle through it.
There's a look at Jake Paulson. And Paulson got a majority of the work in yesterday's practice over Keefe. Annexted to throw. To the back of the end zone was intended for Bateman. And Buford Jr. on the coverage. End of the quarter. We've got a 4th to play. Let's go, PJ. Good energy in the stadium tonight. TCF Stadium. Hard to believe this is the 10th year of this stadium. And the students were in here early on a Thursday night. School night and a work night for the folks here in the stadium. A stadium, by the way, that this is the first time that you're actually watching a game, but you got to play here in the NFL.
Yep, got to play against the Vikings when they were building US Bank Stadium. We did not win that game, Lisa. Regardless, it's always cool to go back and play in your home state.
Handoff to Smith, bounces off the pack. And flirting with the 5-yard line. Tackle made by Donovan King. James Laurinaitis, we showed you the Wayzata High School native, just 30 minutes away from here. Gain of 5 yards here for Rodney Smith. Laurinaitis family watching tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely watching it. It's pretty cool that your first game of the season is back in your home state and you're watching some of the kids like Thomas Barber. They were really young back when I was in high school.
Annexstad trying to hunt down another touchdown. And the play is made by DeMarcus Owens. Nicely done. Intended for Tyler Johnson. That'll bring up 4th down and another opportunity here for Emmett Carpenter. Johnson, the leading receiver. It's a 100-yard receiving game for him. 23-yard attempt officially.
The Gophers are going to get 100-plus yard gains out of Smith and Johnson. They're going to win a lot of those.
And Carpenter has been solid. So has PJ Fleck's team, regardless of how he grades them. Well, in that commercial break, the athletic training staff has been tending to their quarterback, Zach Annexstad, in that left shoulder. That's what they've been looking at. Ever since he came out, we think it might have happened here on this play.
Well, you can see here on the zone read when he takes the ball himself, he dives forward, bounces on the turf right on his left shoulder. And as he gets up here, you can see him grimacing in pain. And what you saw there with the doctor putting the arm across his chest, they're testing AC joint. They're trying to see if he can pull against it. And from somebody who's sprained both of those, it's
speaking from experience.
Speaking from experience, it's painful, but it's also something that you're thankful it's his left shoulder and not his right.
Let's check in with Dave Revson for another Purdue Northwestern update.
Lisa, has been a wild first half in West Lafayette. Jeremy Larkin running the read option. The running back takes it in for Northwestern. He's near 100 yards in the first half. 31-17, not even at the break yet.
Larkin, of course, getting all kinds of extra reps this year after the graduation of Justin Jackson. As you had mentioned, maybe one of the more underrated backs across the country last year. Very durable back for Northwestern. Scrambling is Romero, and pass is broken up by Cashman again. And Coughlin applying the pressure.
Coughlin, Cashman played high school together at Eden Prairie.
There's a lot of Eden Prairie kids on this team.
It's a powerhouse program. Mike Grant has done a phenomenal job.
Hard hit. Breaks up the pass. And again, guess who? It's been Cashman's night.
He's been all over the place. 8 tackles, a sack, 4 tackles for loss, a couple pass breakups. That's a pass breakup just by physicality.
We've told his story. Was a walk-on, now a turned starter. Well, making the right play, presented by Rocket Mortgage, by Quicken Loans. It was the punt return. Antoine Winfield taking it 76 in the first half.
Yeah, we see his return ability here, his toughness, breaking 5 tackles on his way to the end zone. Not only doing it on special teams, but 5 tackles as well tonight, lining up at multiple different positions. A dynamic playmaker for these Gophers.
And back at quarterback is Zach Annexstad. After we saw the athletic training staff tending to his his shoulder and his left arm. Pass is complete to Rashad Bateman. Are you surprised to see Annexstad back out there?
I am, Lisa. If you're a young quarterback, you know, it's grimacing and has even if it's a deep shoulder bruise, you think, especially with the game out of hand, to put Tanner Morgan in and see what he has under the lights.
Ibrahim takes the handoff. So right now we see Rodney Smith out of the game, maybe temporarily. Sitting at 153 yards, by the way, for Smith. That's a gain of 5 for Ibrahim. And now Minnesota working the clock a little bit. Hanks and Hood with the tackle.
That was a really nice job by Terrell Hanks of filling that gap there. They ran that insert play with Paulson. He saw it, he shot it. Very physical tackle on Ibrahim.
Annexstad with a little bit of time. Pass was deflected, though. He knew right where he was going. Solback with the deflection.
There, he keeps grabbing his left shoulder.
Yeah.
And you wonder, maybe, is it shoulder? Is it pack? The only reason why you think that it's a shoulder is that it happened on the impact. His arm didn't get bent backwards where you would think it'd be a muscular thing. But if your quarterback is out there, just my thinking, grimacing as he throws, maybe it's time to put him on the sidelines when you're up 41-10 and put an ice bag on it.
Well, shining in his debut. Over 200 passing yards, a couple of touchdowns. So far, no interceptions for Zach Annexstad. And a timeout for Minnesota as they'll chat about it. And as PJ Fleck talks to his team, we will take our own timeout. As their starting quarterback, Annexstad, doesn't look like he's 100%, stays in for this third down play. And a handoff to Ibrahim, who gets tripped up just short of the first down marker. Zach Annexstad staying in this game. Again, we believe that this is the play he got hurt on.
This is why we're surprised that he's still out there. You see him getting evaluated, grimacing. Right there. Trying to cross the body. And then we saw him grimacing and trying to point at his shoulder. They made a few throws on this drive.
Well, he stays in a 4th and 2 situation.
Second charge for Minnesota.
And it is a second timeout here for Minnesota. Would you expect this to be the last series for Zach Annexstad?
I would. I would expect this to be the last series. I just don't see the point.
It's the backup Tanner Morgan, another redshirt freshman. Zach Annexstad making his debut as a true freshman walk-on starter, and this is what he's done today.
I thought he's been really good on his rhythm throws, on the slants. He's been good on some deep comebacks there, avoiding the pressure, falling back, hitting Johnson, letting him run after the catch. He's done a really good job. 16 of 32, 220, and a pair of touchdowns. I think you've seen enough out of him that if there was any chance that he has some soreness, take him out.
Unless they're desperate to see what he can do in a 4th and 2 situation. Now, there's no substitute for game experience, especially when you got a true freshman running the offense. And the handoff to Ibrahim, who does a nice job in gaining the first down. And Ibrahim is the running back who's actually stayed in this series. We haven't seen Rodney Smith.
No, we haven't. Ibrahim was the scout team player of the year last year for the Gophers, giving them a great look while he redshirted.
See the difference in the run game between these two teams tonight. Annexstead dropping back to pass, will float it to the corner to find his other freshman companion. Incomplete, intended for Demetrius Douglas.
Just a little too long there on the deep ball.
And Jackson was the one that gave him a shot. He was after him.
And that's why I'm surprised he's still in the ball game. You can see him holding his arm, bending it there a little bit after he got the hit.
Second and 10. Still no move for his quarterback, for P.J. Fleck.
And I know he's tough. We know he's competitive.
Hand off now to Bryce Williams, who's getting his first carry. Helmet is off. Billy Knipp. That's the helmet, and he'll have to sit out and down. Gain of 2. So our first look at Bryce Williams, a freshman running back. There's number 21. Of course, all of these players getting a little bit more time with Shannon Brooks out with the injury. Suffered in the offseason. Now a 3rd and 8 situation. Annexstead the handoff. Williams fighting for it, won't get it.
21 Williams, the ball carrier.
Ibekwe with the tackle. And we just mentioned we hadn't seen Rodney Smith. This might be why. Limping on the sideline for Minnesota. That's not what you want to see. Your star running back and your starting quarterback hobbling a little bit.
No, you don't want to see that at all. And P.J. Fleck was telling us yesterday that they were going to monitor his touches basically just by feel. And that right there tells you, get him out of the game as soon as possible.
40-yard attempt for Carpenter. And it is no good. And we will take a break. Minnesota still leading. We should get Jerry and Howard in there early. Start the weekend. Work early there in the studio. Hey, in the break, this is what we saw. Tanner Morgan warming up. He's the backup quarterback. Warming up with Seth Green, number 17. Tanner Morgan, by the way, the only scholarship quarterback on the roster. And New Mexico State in this offense will go back to work.
Thomas Rush on the tackle there for Minnesota. True freshman from Marysville, Ohio.
A gain of 9. Brings up 2nd and 1. Hand off to Caldwell. And Caldwell has been one of those leaders you ask this coaching staff. They've needed it from Huntley. They've needed it from Caldwell. This is a program, again, trying to build off of a lot of success from last year. And the challenge is now of actually being an independent, which is one of the reasons why Doug Martin finds himself in this situation, playing a couple of games in really less than a week. Pass is broken up by Keandre Thomas. And a flag on the play.
Intended for 9 again. There's a flag on the field.
I think they're going to get Thomas for pass interference. Seemed to be a little bit early.
Pass interference, defense number 31. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
As you see there, that left arm draped around the back of Dan.
Romero again. And it's Thomas again making the play. A reminder, tomorrow, Brian Lewerke and the 11th ranked Spartans take the field for battle when they open the season against Utah State. Big Ten football presented by Taco Bell. Tomorrow at 7 Eastern right here on BTN. Brendan Gaudin, Glenn Mason, and Elise Menaker will be on the call for that one. And Romero goes down in the backfield as Rush made quite a rush.
The true freshman linebacker with a couple of tackles on this first action in college football. Nice job there on the sack.
A loss of 7. Now 3rd and 11. Aggies have found themselves in a lot of 3rd and long situations, and it's going to be another call against Thomas.
Well, there's 3 flags on the play, so they must have all seen the same thing. I think it's going to be pass interference once again.
Well, they're kind of right in a row, too. You pick up
Pass
1, pick up 2.
Defense number 31. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, they get all 3.
And when the ball's underthrown like this, Lisa, it's hard for a defender to know that and to stop your momentum. He turns his head back, but at that point, his arms are around the receiver. Victim to the underthrown ball.
Romero stepping up. And a tackle made by Rush.
Romero tackled by number 8, Thomas Rush.
Thomas Rush, one of the players who enrolled early in January. And at the time, P.J. Fleck had said this kid will play this year. Out of Marysville High School out of Columbus, Ohio. James Laurinaitis.
Yes, about 10 miles down Route 33 from me in Columbus.
Now flirting and stretching, that last effort gives him the first down. And it's Dan making the play. Thomas with the tackle. Gain of 9, and they move the chains for New Mexico State. Romero with plenty of time. Going deep, incomplete. Pass intended for Huntley.
Pass intended for Senate. Call was incomplete. Second down.
Take a look at the upcoming schedule here. Minnesota has Fresno State, Miami, Ohio, at Maryland, Iowa, and then at Ohio State.
Romero gets taken down, wasted too much time, and it's Julian Huff. Juju making the play.
Great effort by Juju Huff. On the blitz, high motor. He blitzes around the edge, gets around big Sage Dockstader, and just hustles. Gets the ankles of Romero. Rob Smith told us that nobody has grown more in their culture than Juju Huff.
3rd and 16.
Pass intended for Dan is incomplete.
A pass intended for Drew Dan. Coney Durr was there from Minnesota. And here comes 4th down. Culture so big. You mentioned that word, that C word for Minnesota. Culture so big for P.J. Fleck in this program. It's what he stands his solid ground on. It's what he attributes his success to Western Michigan. And you can say, well, you know, what P.J. Fleck does is he brings the motivational phrases, but he also brings the explanation behind the motivational phrases. It's not just row the boat. It's not just race to maturity. He now has the experience and the results to kind of back it up that this sort of mentality works. And he's been consistent. You look at the race to maturity, his latest motivational philosophy. It's something that he brought at Western Michigan. When they were young, they were playing almost 20 freshmen that year. As Tanner Morgan now in at quarterback for Minnesota. Hands off to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, a big gain across midfield. Ibrahim still going. Taken down just inside the 5-yard line.
And that's another Golden Gopher.
74 yards. We'll look at the end of this one.
It just looks like his left leg is still on the ground when he gets chopped down. You hope it's nothing serious. Coaching staff very high on Mohamed Ibrahim. And you can see why on that long run.
They said that he leaves nothing in the tank. And case in point with that run. PJ Fleck, who's over his running back right now, a redshirt freshman, said he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, but he is tremendous, and especially for our system because he just fits us. And he's still hanging on to the football, isn't he?
Yes, he is. You can see PJ Fleck kind of tug at it. Which leads me to believe that maybe there's been some constant preaching about keeping it high and tight.
But they finally got it away from him. He didn't want to give it up. A nice hand, a well-deserved hand for the redshirt freshman. $74 yards. Let's look at it.
Yeah, you just see him. I mean, a big gaping hole up the middle. And this is what I love here at the end of this run. Stutter step, stiff arm. He's trying to make this a house call. He wasn't satisfied with just the explosive run. He wanted the touchdown. Gotta love the effort.
And Tanner Morgan is your quarterback.
Bryson Williams had 1,500 yards as a senior out of Florida.
He could pick up his first career touchdown if he plays his cards right. Morgan to Williams, battles his way in, stretches in. No call yet, just short. Hood making the stop at the goal line. A gain of 3 brings up second down. This time a New Mexico State player. Miles Veen is the player down.
And if you're an Aggie fan, you don't want to see this. You're already thin on defense. You're without Jasavia Reese. You're without Cedric Wilcox. Without Liam McQuaker, Javon Ferguson, Malik Demby.
That's 5 potential starters for New Mexico State. Again, out with injury or academic reasons. As they tend to Veen on the field. And you got a late night game going out of conference on FS1.
I do. Flying to Phoenix tomorrow. I'll get Herm Edwards' first game. Arizona State Sun Devils.
You'll be able to stay up?
I'll be able to stay up.
Second and goal. Hand off to Williams, who punches it in. The youth movement has been the toast of Dinkytown tonight. Bryce Williams with his first career touchdown. And Carpenter with the try. 48-10, Minnesota with 41 unanswered since trailing 10-7. Let's check in with Michelle McMahon on the sideline.
Well, Lisa, another key member of this youth movement for Minnesota is number 14, Casey O'Brien. You might not see him in the stat column as a redshirt freshman walk-on who is not dressed today, but as a 4-time cancer survivor, his impact on this team is immeasurable. He was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer prior to enrolling at Minnesota. He's had his knee replaced and several rounds of chemotherapy. Rodney Smith told me before the game he's one of the happiest guys on the team. You would never know what kind of adversity this kid has gone through. I talked to Casey O'Brien before the game. He said he continues to make trips in and out of the hospital out of respect to his privacy. I didn't pry whether he's still dealing with the cancer, but I tell you what, this kid is full of heart. He is a bright light on this team, and one of the nicest people you will ever meet, Lisa.
And a wonderful, wonderful story. And I love how he's just in the mix there on the sideline with everyone here on game day.
The perfect example of PJ Fleck's row the boat culture.
Familiar with it. The oar is the energy, the boat is the sacrifice, and the compass is the direction. Cultural stability and caring for one another, looking after one another, not just on the field, but off the field. One of the things that PJ Fleck has stressed for his program. Coming up after this one is complete, the State Farm post-game show with Dave Revson, Howard Griffith, and Jerry DiNardo. PJ Fleck, I mentioned the race to maturity. Now that's not how you normally spell maturity. It's M-A-H, maturity, to play off of Sky U-Ma, of course. But his philosophy is maturity is defined when what you have to do becomes what you want to do. And that's what he has stressed with his very young football team. Is that's the goal. That's where you want to get maturity-wise. And you got to get there faster because we are so young.
And like you said, Lisa, he had this same exact motto and same exact situation at Western Michigan. And he felt that it worked. He felt their guys played young and they continued to mature. So by the time that they were juniors and seniors, they had experience and they were mature and they were able to make plays. And it led to a lot of success for him there. He's hoping the same thing will happen here in Minneapolis.
1-11 in his first year. There's a flag on that play. We might have a face mask coming.
I think it's going to be a hold on Drew Dan.
Holding number 9, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, goodness, James Laurinaitis, you've been right all night. This TV thing might be working out for you.
I always tried to manipulate with the refs, so I have a pretty good understanding of what they're calling.
The pressure was coming, passing complete. A comfortable lead, a lead that grew in the second quarter. That really was kind of the difference maker here tonight for Minnesota. Anixted was important in leading this offense. Rodney Smith, 153 yards on the ground. But how about the night that Tyler Johnson has had?
Yeah, he had a very good night. When you see Tyler Johnson play, he's just a guy that catches the ball well in traffic. He does a good job running after the catch as well. He runs these slant routes like this one where he scored on extremely efficiently. And look at that move there. Once he gets the ball in his hands, anything can happen. He's fun to watch. And you hope for this Gophers team that he and Rodney Smith stay healthy. Injuries have been an issue here at Minnesota because of some of the lack of depth. They weren't able to sustain them really. They weren't able to fight through them as a team.
PJ Fleck has said we have depth, we just don't have experience depth. I mean, you talk about Tyler Johnson, he is an experienced guy. They call him actually Coach Tyler, some of the young guys here on this team. How Johnson has tried to coach this team up. Rodney Smith is the same way. One of the leaders and the role models here this year. We showed you a bit of what is to come for Minnesota. Next game is home to Fresno State. and catch that one on FS1. They wrap up the non-conference season in Miami, Ohio, and then the first road test at Maryland. And who knows what kind of Maryland team they will face in that Big Ten opener.
And that's a big test for them. When you think about going to Maryland, Maryland is a team that really has two quarterbacks that can get it done. Their running back, Ty Johnson, can hit a home run any single time he touches the ball. That'll be a good test for this Gopher team to kind of see where they stand.
You know, the interesting thing is the red shirt rule, the new red shirt rule that will come into play for those games that you see there. Bryce Williams again with the carry. Case in point, now I mentioned Shannon Brooks, who's out with an injury, but if his rehab continues to go well, they could theoretically play a Shannon Brooks. So you see the new redshirt rule there. A player could play a maximum of 4 games and still maintain a redshirt. Those 4 games could come at any point during the year. They could come at the beginning of the year, the middle, or the end of the year. And all the Minnesota fans were joking, well, let's put Brooks against Nebraska and against Iowa and that Wisconsin finale.
And it makes sense because as someone who's gone through this, who you are as a freshman, Lisa, when you show up on campus, week 1 of training camp, to who you are at the end of the season, that's not the same player. So it's going to allow these coaches to strategically play guys for depth, for experience throughout the season.
Well, Shannon Brooks is involved in some non-contact drills already in practice. We saw him a little bit yesterday. He looks good. And what a 1-2 punch that could be if he could get that again with Rodney Smith before Smith graduates. Williams just kind of snuck in underneath the tackles for the first down. But not just with Shannon Brooks, but this team as a whole is something that this Minnesota coaching staff is going to have to learn to handle. Who do we redshirt when? When do we use them? Do we even redshirt them this year?
Yeah, I love this new rule because it allows you the strategy that these coaches are going to employ down the stretch to rest guys if they need to without worrying about burning a red shirt.
2 minutes left in this one again to Williams. Rockland with the tackle.
The offensive line for Minnesota has done a really nice job racking up 282 yards on the ground. No sacks to an aggressive Frank Spaziano defense. Really nice job by the O-line.
Into Williams is going to salt this one away. I want to remind you, too, coming up, the State Farm post-game show with Dave and Howard and Jerry after this one is complete. Going to be a long but fun weekend for those guys. Any final takeaways from this one, James?
You have something that you can build on here. I think I'm really encouraged by, if you're a Golden Gopher fan, you have to be encouraged by the offensive line, by the way your freshman quarterback looked, your young receivers. There's a lot to build on with this youth. And this could be fun to watch as they face stiffer competition. It's one thing to have this youth perform against New Mexico State, but how are they going to perform, as you said, at Maryland on a first true road game against a much more talented roster?
Tanner Morgan, again, we heard Michelle's report early in the game of how supportive he has been to Zach Anickstead, who was given the starting job tonight. And we are now in victory mode officially for the Gophers. Back-to-back years, P.J. Fleck has won his opener. Buffalo last year. And a 48-10 victory tonight against New Mexico State.
Whereby final score 48-10. University of Minnesota Golden Gophers.
From his quarterback, Zach Anickstead, 16 of 33, 220 yards, A couple of touchdowns and no interceptions. Now they got to keep their quarterback, their top running back, and their backup running back, for that matter, healthy. Let's check in with Michelle.
Lisa, thanks, Coach. You had at least 24 freshmen and redshirt freshmen see action today. What did you learn about your youthful group in game one?
We're going to have to be a complete team to have success this year, you know, and we're going to have, those young kids are going to have to grow up. But complete team effort tonight, whether it was a block punt, whether it was an interception, punt return, whether it was our offense, our defense, complete team effort. Got a lot of kids in today, which was really important for us to do. A lot of kids got experience, and we're going to need it as we keep going through this schedule.
And you're going to need a player like Zach Annexted to grow up the quickest, perhaps, as a freshman walk-on in that quarterback position. Why did he impress you tonight?
He did some good. He did not so good. But again, I love his resolve. I love his resiliency. Keeps his oar in the water. Just continues to row the boat. And, you know, he's going to keep getting better.
Coach Fleck, thanks so much for the time. Lisa?
All right, thank you, Michelle. Again, 48-10 is your